Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Martial Universe Season 10 Part 6 based on novel. So let's start. The door was gently pushed open as a ray of moonlight reached in. A slender and beautiful figure slowly entered under the moonlight. There was a slight tremor in her clear eyes. Her head was slightly lowered as she walked into the room with both of her tiny hands tightly clasped together. Her eyes darted around and did not dare to look at the man on the bed. Seated on the bed, Lin Dong looked at this young lady who had walked in this manner. A long while later, he finally shook his head helplessly when he saw that the latter still showed no signs of speaking. Xin, what is it? Xin's teeth bit into her small lips. Her small hands, which were entangled together, had become a little green because of the strength she used. She seemed to be struggling in her heart. Lin Dong silently watched her quietly without speaking to urge her. The silence in the room lasted for a couple of minutes. Tears finally flickered within Xin's eyes as she suddenly knelt down. Sir Lin Dong. Lin Dong stared at Xin and smiled. Your mother asked you to come, am I right? Yes. If I am not wrong, your mother wishes for you to remain here tonight, right? Why? Does your nine-tailed tribe hope to obtain my protection? Lin Dong softly asked. I'm sorry, Xin's eyes were red as tears continuously flowed down. I know I am letting elder sister Xin Lian down by doing this. However, I am willing to give up everything for my tribe, even if it is my life or my body. The nine-tailed tribe was extremely powerful in the past. However, I do not have the lofty ambition of restoring our tribe to its past glory. All I wish for is for my tribe to live well and not have to worry daily about being captured and becoming a female servant that others can ravage at whim. Lin Dong sighed softly as he looked at the young lady who was kneeling on the ground and crying sadly. Aunt Xin wanted to place the entire tribe's honor and disgrace on the shoulders of such a delicate young lady. That was indeed too heavy for her to bear. I am aware of Sir Lin Dong's character. Mother's method will not work, however, please allow me to sit here tonight. I will explain to Mother tomorrow. Lin Dong sighed. He stood up from the bed and sat down beside Xin. As he gazed upon the tear-stained face of the beautiful young lady, he smiled. Do you know that I come from an extremely small family in a tiny empire of the Eastern Xian region? I have an enemy since I was very young who possessed the strength that could easily wipe out my entire family. My father was seriously injured by that person until he became a cripple. At that time, there was an immeasurable gap between him and I. He was a brilliant genius of that empire, while I was an unknown person from a small family. Xin ceased sobbing as her red eyes looked at the brilliantly smiling young man. It was difficult for her to imagine that this man, who was valued by peak-level experts like Mo Luo and Qing Shi, would actually have such a past. The subsequent story is very simple. I learned to endure and gradually became strong through many experiences. In the end, I killed him. Lin Dong extended his hand and gently rubbed the young lady's little head as he softly said, I am aware that your tribe is having a difficult time. However, if you truly wish to protect those you care about, you can only rely on your own strength. Your starting point is much better than mine. You have already reached the profound life stage at such a young age, an achievement akin to a super genius from the empire I come from. Hence, believe in yourself. There will come a day where you will be able to let your nine-tailed tribe once again stand tall in this demonic beast world. At that time, you will believe that everything that happened today is unnecessary. Of course, if that day really comes, please do not hate me. I do not wish to offend a furious nine-tailed fox. Phut. The young lady involuntarily laughed. Soon after, she sniffed gently. Her eyes were gleaming as she looked at Lin Dong. Sir Lin Dong, do you really think that I can do it? Of course, you have the potential. Lin Dong smilingly replied. The young lady gently clenched her teeth as her small hand suddenly clenched tightly. In that moment, Lin Dong could see flames rising from deep within those pairs of eyes. Thank you. Sir Lin Dong, I know what I should do now. Xin gave Lin Dong a charming smile. I now know why even elder sister Xin Lian, who has high standards, would fancy you. Cough, I am only friends with her. Lin Dong awkwardly replied. Xin Qing glanced at Lin Dong's face. Suddenly, she leaned her body forward as a pair of long slender arms gently hugged Lin Dong. She said in a low voice, Sir Lin Dong, you are right. We can only rely on ourselves if we wish to change the nine-tailed tribe. If we lose that courage, we cannot blame others for having to struggle to survive. Lin Dong was slightly startled. He was about to speak when the softness in his embrace withdrew. The young lady stood up and winked at Lin Dong. Sir Lin Dong, please have an early rest. Forgive Xin Qing for disturbing you. The young lady had already left the room after leaving those words behind. Only a lingering fragrance remained. Lin Dong looked at the back of the young lady who had exited the room. Something about her seemed to have changed. He could sense that the faint timidness that was originally present in her eyes had completely disappeared at this moment. Lin Dong hoped that Xin Qing would continue to mature. He regarded her as a friend and would naturally help her if he could. However, he did not wish for her to become reliant on his help. After all, it was just as he had said. One must ultimately rely on oneself if one wished to change. The young lady ran within the nine-tailed village under the night sky. After which, she panted slightly as she charged into the ancestral hall of the village where she saw Aunt Xin and a couple of elders. Xin Qing? Aunt Xin was a little taken aback when she saw the young lady who had charged in. The few elders exchanged glances with each other but did not speak. It was likely that they were aware of what Xin Qing was going to do tonight. Mother, I have already said that this method is useless against Sir Lin Dong. Xin Qing spoke with a faint smile. Aunt Xin's eyes dimmed slightly. After which, she bitterly smiled and shook her head. She lifted her head and muttered in a somewhat sorrowful manner, Is this the fate of my nine-tailed tribe? I wish to go to the ancestral soul hall. The young lady's determined voice suddenly sounded within the ancestral hall. Aunt Xin and the others were startled upon hearing this. They lifted their heads in surprise into the eyes of the figure whose hands were tightly clenched. There was no uncertainty or fear present in her eyes. Allow me to try. I will not regret it even if I fail and die. Xin Qing's eyes stared intently at Aunt Xin. I know that the ancestral soul hall can only be opened one last time. However, our nine-tailed tribe will continue to decline if we continue to be cowards. Mother, rather than living in fear every day, why don't we stake everything on this? If we still end up failing, it means that the heavens have decided that our nine-tailed tribe can no longer regain our past glory. If that is the case... The young lady's eyes became extremely determined and sad after speaking until this point. It is best to allow our nine-tailed tribe to vanish from this world. That way, we will at least be able to maintain a little of our pride. The entire ancestral hall became completely silent at this moment. The faces of Aunt Xin and the rest turned pale and shock was present in their eyes. None of them expected that this usually extremely timid young lady would actually become so shockingly determined at this moment. Tribe Chief. This silence lasted for a long time, before a lady suddenly tightly clenched her hand. Xin Qing is right. Although we only have one last chance, but, rather than simply waiting in this muddlehead fashion and place our hopes on the protection of others, we might as well stake everything. If the ancestors bless us, our nine-tailed tribe will once again regain its past glory. If we fail, it is really pointless to live struggling day by day. The others were quiet. However, it seemed as though a flame, which had been suppressed for a long time, had risen again from the depths of their eyes. Aunt Xin's body trembled. Finally, she could not help but cry as she said, I know that all of us are very tired, but we only wish to protect our tribe. Our tribe has already suffered far too much. Mother, therefore, allow us to try one final time. Xin Qing stepped forward and knelt beside Aunt Xin. She clenched her small ice-cold fists and gently smiled. Aunt Xin looked at the girl in front of her as tears continued to flow. You will die. Those tribe members who entered the ancestral soul hall during the last 1,000 years have all died. It is a cursed place of death. It is ultimately better than catching the eye of some great person and being captured to become his concubine or slave, right? Qingqing softly said. Anshin looked at her daughter, who had suddenly become even more mature than herself, as the final stubbornness in her heart was completely shattered. She stroked Qingqing's long and smooth hair, gritted her teeth and nodded. In that case, let's open the ancestral soul hall. Joy finally surfaced on Qingqing's face. Thank you, mother. Anshin rubbed away the tears on her face. If you fail, there will no longer be a nine-tailed tribe in this world. I will gather the tribe members and announce this tomorrow. After which, we will send you to the ancestral soul hall. The tensed atmosphere in the ancestral hall had scattered. Perhaps, it was because they had made their ultimate decision. The faces of Aunt Shin's group no longer appeared as depressing as before. Instead, there were smiles on their faces. Looks like this ancestral soul hall is quite a dangerous place. The laughter that had suddenly intruded caused everyone in the ancestral hall to be startled. They turned their heads and saw a figure leaning against the door who had suddenly appeared. Sir Lindong? Qingqing was immediately stunned when she saw the figure. She hurriedly wiped away the tears on her face. Anshin looked at Lindong and quickly stood up to greet him. Young brother Lindong, I was rude with regards to the earlier matter. Please do not be offended. Lindong shrugged his shoulders. He glanced at Qingqing and asked, is it possible for an outsider to enter the ancestral soul hall? Anshin was startled as she replied, it is possible, but that place is very dangerous. The expression on Qingqing's small face was changed at this moment as she hurriedly said, Sir Lindong, you cannot. I will accompany her to the ancestral soul hall. Lindong completely ignored the objection of the young lady. He stretched his waist and left. Muttering was emitted from his mouth as he left. Really? I was just comforting her. Why did such a dire situation have to occur? I am such a failure. Qingqing's small hand involuntarily covered her small mouth as she heard the faint mumbling. Tears gathered as many large droplets tumbled down one after another. Lindong stood on the branch of a tree as his gaze looked forward where an empty plot of land in the Nine-Tail village was located. At this moment, almost everyone from the Nine-Tail tribe was gathered here, and the atmosphere appeared somewhat sad. Earlier, Anshin had already mentioned that Qingqing wanted to attempt the ancestral soul hall. This naturally caused a commotion in the tribe. Unexpectedly, no one objected to it. Some of the young ladies were rather sorrowful. It was likely that this life of living on tenterhooks had caused them to feel a sense of hopelessness. Lindong sighed helplessly as he observed this atmosphere. Soon after, he asked in his mind, Yang, is what you said to me yesterday true? When Lindong declared that he would accompany Qingqing to the ancestral soul hall last night, the usually nowhere to be found Yang had suddenly appeared. After which, the latter told him some information about the Nine-Tailed tribe of ancient times. In that ancient times, the Nine-Tailed tribe was also an overlord tribe in the demonic beast world. At that time, there were a total of 3 reincarnation stage peak experts in their tribe. Their powers were comparable to the 9 Phoenix, Kuan Peng, and other overlord tribes. Yang explained in an unhurried manner. 3 reincarnation stage experts, Lindong's eyes widened. Such power was indeed terrifying. During the Great World Calamity back then, the Nine-Tailed tribe followed by my master's side and made significant contributions in the World War. However, the Nine-Tailed tribe was also targeted by the Yimo because of this. The top experts in the tribe were killed until barely any were left. In the final battle, the last Nine-Tailed spirit fox of their tribe sacrificed her life to seal and suppress 3 Yimo kings. Suppressing 3 Yimo kings. One could tell from Lindong's eyes that he was strongly affected by this information. Back at Fiery Flame City, not only was Qingxi forced to use the king-destroying heavenly plate, but he also needed the support of 4 ancestral symbols in order to destroy a Yimo king. Even so, the other Yimo king eventually managed to escape with some of the former's essence blood. Yet, the ancestor of the Nine-Tailed tribe had relied on her own strength to suppress 3 Yimo king. Although she paid for it with her life, this was still quite terrifying. I suspect that the reason the Nine-Tailed tribe never managed to recover is because of this. Yang mused. Lin Dong narrowed his eyes. You should indeed make a trip to the Ancestral Soul Hall and find out what is going on, Yang said. However, Lin Dong could sense something strange from his words. Is there anything else you want to say? Lin Dong was meticulous and immediately voiced his suspicions. This ancestor of the Nine-Tailed tribe was deeply in love with the Devouring Master in the ancient times. As an inheritor of the Devouring ancestral symbol, you might be able to reap some benefits. Lin Dong was stunned. There was actually such a matter? It seemed like the previous owner of the Devouring ancestral symbol was quite charming indeed. He was even able to subdue an ancestor of the Nine-Tailed tribe. Are you certain that the Devouring Master did not let that person down back then? Lin Dong involuntarily asked. He did not wish to receive terrible treatment due to the Devouring ancestral symbol when the time came. What romance could there be back then? If we lost the World War, everything in this world would suffer under the Yimo's cruelty. Who wasn't risking their lives in the fight to protect their loved ones? Yang said. Lin Dong slowly nodded. At such a time, even personal grudges would completely disappear. Young brother Lin Dong. A voice was suddenly transmitted from nearby while Lin Dong and Yang were conversing. He saw Aunt Xin, Xin Qing, and some Nine-Tailed tribe's elders looking at him. Let's go. Lin Dong nodded upon seeing this. His body moved and he appeared beside them. Young brother Lin Dong, are you sure about this? The Ancestral Soul Hall is extremely dangerous. No one has been able to come out alive for so many years. Aunt Xin watched Lin Dong and could not help but warn. Aunt Xin, please lead the way. Lin Dong smiled and did not say anything else. Aunt Xin sighed softly after seeing this. Without further ado, she turned around and led the way, heading straight for the depths of the Nine-Tailed village. Relax, everything will be fine. Lin Dong grinned at Xin Qing, who had been staring at him since the beginning. The latter slightly pursed her tiny mouth and nodded slightly. The group followed behind Aunt Xin and headed towards the deeper parts of the Nine-Tailed village. This continued for around half an hour, before some ruins appeared deep within the dense depths of the forest. There was a huge altar at the center of the ruins. Aunt Xin led the group as they walked up the altar. A stone platform was located at the middle of the altar. With a clench of her fist, a palm-sized bronze statue appeared. The bronze statue was a blood-red fox. However, there were 9 tails dancing behind it. Although this statue was not real, Lin Dong was still able to detect a monstrous demonic aura from it. Looks like the most important thing of the Ancestral Soul Hall was this bronze fox statue. The altar should be some kind of support for it. Are the both of you ready? Aunt Xin looked at Lin Dong and Xin Qing as she asked. Yes. Both of them deeply inhaled and nodded. Aunt Xin also nodded upon seeing this. She placed the bronze statue on the stone platform and flickered her finger. A ball of blood appeared with a flash which gave off a rich bloody scent. This is the blood of all the tribe members of our Nine-Tailed tribe, and it is only possible to open the Ancestral Soul Hall through this method. However, each time the Ancestral Soul Hall is opened, it would exhaust a great amount of the bronze statue's energy. This is likely the last time that we can open it. After which, the bronze statue will shatter, Xin Qing softly explained beside Lin Dong. Lin Dong nodded slightly. It seemed that this was the final chance for her Nine-Tailed tribe. Buzz buzz. The blood-colored Nine-Tailed spirit fox seemed to have been revived when the ball of blood landed on the bronze statue, and actually let loose a long howl towards the sky. Dark clouds churned in the sky at this moment and the blood ball turned into a ray of blood-red light that was absorbed into the mouth of the Nine-Tailed fox. Ayo! This ancient howl contained a bleak feeling as it reverberated across the land. The Nine-Tailed spirit fox on the altar seemed to glance at Lin Dong and the others, before a blood light erupted from its mouth. The light turned into a huge blood-red door in front of them. Please enter. This is the Ancestral Soul Hall. Aunt Xin's hands were tightly clenched as she softly said. Sir Lin Dong, you must enter with me. Otherwise, you will be expelled. Xin Qing glanced at Lin Dong before extended her delicate small hand. Lin Dong hesitated for a moment before grabbing it. An icy cool feeling appeared in his hand, indicating the unease and anxiety in the young lady's heart. "Let's go." Lin Dong grinned at her. Without any hesitation, he opened his stride, pulling Xinqing as they walked into the blood-red door. Buzz! The blood-red door rippled as light swept across those two. Subsequently, the door shuddered and the Lin Dong duo vanished. Ornit Shin and the rest watched as the two disappeared. Soon after, they gently clenched their hands and continuously mumbled, "Ancestor, please protect the final hope of our nine-tailed tribe." While they were softly muttering, no one noticed that the nine-tailed fox statue on the altar was watching the blood-red door with a faint sadness in its eyes. When he stepped into the blood-red door, Lin Dong was able to detect an extremely powerful spatial fluctuation. After which, the blood light before his eyes suddenly brightened before rapidly dimming. Lin Dong's sight also quickly recovered as Yuan power began to swiftly circulate within his body. Lin Dong glanced around but found that there was no danger like he had anticipated. An incomparably vast blood-red sea entered his eyes. At this moment, they were standing on a path above this huge ocean and there seemed to be a relatively large square at the end of this path. Xinqing's clear eyes gazed at the huge square at the end of the path. She quickly released Lin Dong's hand and swiftly walked towards it. She could sense a beckoning call that seemed to originate from the ancient times from there. Lin Dong followed closely behind Xinqing. His eyes continued to sweep across this blood-red realm while slivers of black light and lightning arcs quietly flashed and danced on his hands within his sleeves. The both of them quickly arrived at the square. After which, Lin Dong saw 100,000 feet large stone statue standing at that center of the square. The stone statue seemed to be a nine-tailed spirit fox. However, its aura was many times stronger than the bronze statue from earlier. Even though Lin Dong was looking at it from a great distance, he could still feel his heart beat faster. "This is our ancestor." Xinqing looked at the stone statue as a feverish look rose in her eyes. "This is the ancestor's skeleton." Lin Dong was slightly startled. It turned out that this was not a stone statue. Instead, it was a skeleton of a true nine-tailed spirit fox. No wonder it possessed such a terrifying aura. Xinqing quickened her pace. After which, she stopped when she was still 10,000 feet from the nine-tailed spirit fox skeleton and knelt down. Both of her hands formed a rather unique posture as three fluffy tails extended from her back. Lin Dong stood behind her and quietly watched this scene. An ancient and desolate song was suddenly emitted from Xinqing's mouth after she displayed this posture. This ancient song reverberated across the realm and in that moment, they appeared to have returned to ancient times. Buzz buzz. As the song reverberated, Lin Dong could sense that the Yuan power in the area began to ripple. After which, bits of bloodlight began to gather on the bones of the nine-tailed spirit fox. The bloodlight rapidly gathered and very quickly transformed into a human figure. A lady figure of light appeared after the light scattered. The lady was wearing gorgeous clothes and her appearance was extremely seductive. Every frown and smile of hers seemed to make the world appear a little dimmer. "Ancestor?" Xinqing looked at the incomparably seductive light figure as tears involuntarily flowed from her eyes. "My tribe member." The female light figure's eyes were gentle as she looked at Xinqing below. Next, she gently extended her fair and slender hand. That gentle voice of hers was filled with a shocking bewitchment. "Receive my inheritance. I have waited a very long time for you." Xinqing slowly extended her small hand as she looked at this light figure. However, just as she was about to make contact with the light figure, a hand was suddenly reached out from behind and grabbed her hand. Xinqing was startled because of this. She quickly looked towards the grave-looking Lin Dong with lost eyes. "Sir Lin Dong." Lin Dong ignored her. All he did was stare firmly at the incomparably enchanting lady. After which, he pulled Xinqing as they slowly withdrew. A voice which caused Xinqing's body to suddenly turn ice-cold was emitted from his mouth. "You are not a nine-tailed spirit fox. You are not a nine-tailed spirit fox." Lin Dong's voice contained some graveness and vigilance as it reverberated across the square. It seemed as though the atmosphere had solidified in that moment. Xinqing was also stunned by Lin Dong's words and she quickly felt her body turn cold. After which, she revealed an extremely forced smile to him. "Sir Lindong, what are you saying? I can sense that she has the same bloodline as our nine-tailed tribe in her body." Lindong did not reply. All he did was firmly stare at the seductive woman while black light and lightning glow began to surge deep within his eyes. "Who are you? You are not someone from her tribe." The enchanting woman frowned slightly as she looked at Lindong. Soon after, her tone became much icier. "People of my tribe, have you forgotten the rules of our nine-tailed tribe? You actually dare to bring a human into the ancestral soul hall?" "No?" Xinqing hurriedly tried to reply, only to be stopped by Lindong. He smiled faintly and said, "After so many years, not a single one of your tribe members who went to this ancestral soul hall have managed to return. Don't you find this strange?" Xinqing's body shook. Horror due to disbelief finally rose from the depths of her eyes. "The person before us is no longer that ancestor of yours," Lindong softly said. He immediately smiled at the enchanting woman. "Am I right? May I inquire which Yimo king you are? Ancestor, is this true?" Xinqing looked at the enchanting woman. There was an extremely faint trace of hope in her eyes. The enchanting woman stared at Lindong. The corners of her mouth slowly lifted into a strange smile as she said, "It seems like the foolish nine-tailed tribe has finally sensed that something is amiss." Xinqing's small face became ashen. "Who exactly are you, little brat? There should not be many people in the present world who are aware of the Yimo's existence. Moreover, you are not even qualified to know of such things given your initial profound death stage strength," the enchanting woman said. "Ha ha, I exchanged blows with you Yimo not long ago, and even helped finish off an Yimo king." Lindong softly chuckled. The pupils of the enchanting woman suddenly shrunk. After which, she covered her mouth and laughed. Her appearance was extremely alluring. "Brat, you really love to boast. Do you know how much power is needed to finish off an Yimo king? A reincarnation stage expert, a king destroying heavenly plate, the support of 4 ancestral symbols. Is that enough?" Lindong's tone remained unmoved as he spoke. The lovely laughter came to a sudden halt. That enchanting woman finally began to view this mere initial profound death stage young man before her seriously. Her voice became a lot colder. "Who exactly are you?" "Someone who specializes in causing trouble for you Yimo." Lindong grinned. "You? Although things had somewhat exceeded my expectations, since you have barged in, I'll make sure that you'll be stuck here together with that girl." The enchanting woman laughed coldly. With a clench of her fist, the sea of blood started to churn wildly. Splashing sounds were heard as countless blood-colored chains suddenly whizzed out from the sea of blood and shot towards Lindong with lightning speed. "Sir Lindong, be careful," Xinqing hastily cautioned upon seeing this. Lindong smiled faintly as a lightning glow crazily surged from one of his eyes. Bang! Frightening thunder suddenly resounded in the realm. After which, a dazzling lightning pillar suddenly erupted from within Lindong's body and allowed those blood chains to shoot into it. Kai Kai! Lightning arcs danced wildly as they swiftly spread onto the blood chains. The wild and violent power of the thunderbolt ancestral symbols was unleashed, causing the blood-colored chains to crumble an inch at a time. "What?" The enchanting woman's expression quickly changed upon seeing this. She could detect a familiar strength that frightened her from within the lightning glow. The glow of lightning gathered above Lindong's head. As it squirmed, an ancient symbol slowly appeared. Meanwhile, a unique pressure spread outwards. Thunderbolt ancestral symbol. The enchanting woman looked at the ancient symbol that flickered with a lightning glow and immediately clenched her teeth. Only at this moment did she understand why Lindong said that he was someone who specialized in causing trouble for them, the Yimo. This person was actually the owner of an ancestral symbol. Although you control the Thunderbolt ancestral symbol, you are weaker than me. It's just as well. Allow me to finish you off today and let this Thunderbolt ancestral symbol disappear from the world. Lindong smiled as he looked at the enchanting woman and said, "It seems that you are the one who really likes to boost. Do you really believe that the current you is still an Yimo king?" A mere incomplete consciousness actually dares to act arrogantly. Why don't you come and give it a try? The enchanting woman released a sharp screech. Immediately, both of her hands formed many seals. Limitless devil pillar prison. Bang bang bang. The sea of blood grew violent as blood-red whirlpools formed one by one. Subsequently, they rotated crazily as blood-red light beams suddenly shot out. Wisps of black chi curled around the beams of light as they hovered in the air in a densely packed manner. Bang! The blood-red light beams that flooded the sky suddenly whistled downwards, forming an inescapable net. That momentum was quite dreadful. Lin Dong lifted his head, black light surging within his eyes. Soon after, black light exploded from his forehead, turning into a huge black hole above his head. The blood-red light beams disappeared in a mysterious fashion upon contact with the black hole, as if it was a bottomless hole that could devour everything. Devouring ancestral symbol? How is this possible? The enchanting woman looked at the black hole above Lin Dong as her expression once again changed drastically. At this moment, a sharp screech involuntarily sounded. Rich horror was present in her cry. She never imagined that Lin Dong was not only an ancestral symbol owner, but was in possession of two of them at the same time. Lin Dong's hands hung by his side while black light occupied the sky above his head. He looked at the enchanting woman and laughed. This consciousness of yours is quite disorderly. If my guess is correct, you should have been merged from the three Yimo Kings' consciousness, right? The enchanting woman's eyes were eerie as she stared at Lin Dong. After which, she laughed at the sky. So what if you know? That foolish woman attempted to suppress us three kings by herself. Who could have expected that with the flow of time, the consciousness of the three of us would suppress hers instead? Over the years, the foolish nine-tailed tribe has sent their people to die one after another. Ha ha, do you see it? In fact, this sea of blood is created from the members of the nine-tailed tribe. You bastards! Chin Ching bit her lips and fresh blood seeped out. Tears continued to roll down her eyes while her body trembled. She would never have imagined that the place which was originally the hope of their tribe had actually become so terrifying. In other words, as long as we purify your consciousness, the consciousness of the nine-tailed spirit fox will be able to escape from your suppression. Lin Dong softly inquired. Our three consciousnesses have already become tightly linked with hers over tens of thousands of years. If you wish to purify our consciousness, she will also completely disappear. At that time, the nine-tailed tribe will no longer have the opportunity to rise up again. The enchanting woman laughed. Moreover, the power of the ancestral symbols might be tremendous, but they are not suitable for purification. Hence, you have still overestimated yourself. Sir Lin Dong. The trembling voice of the young lady by the side was transmitted over. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she stared unwaveringly at the enchanting lady while rich hatred surfaced within her eyes. My nine-tailed tribe would rather be destroyed together with her. Their final chance has already been lost. This trip to the ancestral soul hall could also be considered as a failure. Xin Qing had clearly given up all hope of survival. The expression of the enchanting woman slightly altered. It was likely that she did not expect Xin Qing to be so decisive. There is no need to perish together. Lin Dong glanced at the enchanting woman in an indifferent manner and said, The power of the ancestral symbol is indeed not suitable for purification. In that case, I will use another method. Lin Dong lifted his hand after saying this. Warm white light rose from his palm as an ancient stone talisman appeared within it. White light spread. The warm light, which seemed to be able to encompass all things, immediately scattered a great amount of demon chi that filled the place. As an Yimo king, you should recognize this thing, right? The enchanting woman was dazed as she looked at the ancient stone talisman within the white light. Inconsolable terror surged out from her eyes as a horrified voice was emitted, Ancestral stone. Damn it. Just who exactly are you? How is it possible that you possess the ancestral stone? A great storm undoubtedly stirring in her heart at this moment. This profound death-stage young man before her not only possessed two powerful ancestral symbols, but also the second-ranked item on the ancient divine object ranking, Ancestral Stone. This item had killed many Yimo kings during the Great World War of ancient times. Lin Dong ignored her screech as both of his hands formed a seal. After which, a warm white light was suddenly unleashed from the ancestral stone. As the light spread, the black chi that filled the sky was akin to snow under the blazing sun when it came into contact with the warm white light. All of it rapidly disappeared. Ancestral Soul Devil Purifying Formation. Light flooded the sky. Suddenly, an ancient voice was emitted from the ancestral stone. Countless threads of white light sprung out from it and swiftly formed a huge white light array around the bewitching woman in the sky. Ah! The enchanting woman quickly let out a piercing cry upon seeing this. Her body moved in an attempt to flee into the sea of blood. Trying to escape. Lin Dong smiled coldly upon seeing this. Subsequently, lightning glow and black light erupted. They turned into a light curtain that sealed all the escape paths of the enchanting woman. Only the consciousness of this Yimo king was present, and even its physical body had been destroyed long ago. Naturally, it was unable to pose much of a threat against Lin Dong, who was in control of two ancestral symbols. Bang! While Lin Dong blocked the enchanting woman, the white light array in the sky began to shake violently. After which, a loud noise appeared. Majestic white light poured down from the sky like liquid. In the end, it enveloped the bewitching woman. Ah! A miserable screech was suddenly emitted. Under the cleansing of the white light, Lin Dong was able to gradually see traces of black chi swiftly seeping out from within the body of the enchanting lady before being purified. This video will end here.